And there's a couple of things I advocate for people, and it's simple to do, but I call it your power playlist.
Yep.
Your power playlist is just 3 or more songs that fire you up, calm you down, center you. And when you're feeling disconnected, you're 10 to 20 seconds away from the first track playing if you just remember you have it and you know to reach for it.
We all are gonna die. 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 Why don't we help each other prepare for it? Without death there could not be life. I'm talking about end of life conversations, conversations about the end of life. Death and dying, grief and loss, conversations about the end of life.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us on today's episode where we're looking forward to our conversation with Tim Ringgold. Tim is a board-certified music therapist in Orange, California, not Orange County. Is that Orange County as well?
It is Orange County, but we just like to let people know that there's a city there.
Oh, okay. In
That's
Orange, California. Tim holds an additional certificate in hospice and palliative care music therapy and has been facilitating grief retreats since 2007. His own grief journey includes the loss of his 5 best friends, his dad, one of his daughters, and most recently, his stepdad. So Tim knows firsthand what it's like walking the road to recovery from grief.
Yeah, welcome, Tim. We're glad to have you. Tim is also the author of the book, Sonic Recovery, Harness the Power of Music to Stay Sober. He's provided music therapy to thousands of teens and adults in residential treatment and is a sought-after international speaker, having shared the stage with some of the top minds on the subject of music, the brain, and personal growth, including Tony Robbins. Tim was the first person to give a TEDx talk on music therapy in 2012 and is a former regional president of the American Music Therapy Association, which is probably where I heard from you because my wife is also a music therapist. And so I think she's the one who recommended calling you. So glad to have you. And thank you for all your good work.
Yes.
Thanks so much for having me today.
Yeah, we always begin by just setting the stage a little bit. When did you first become aware of death?
Gosh, the very first time I became aware of death was when my best friend, who was my dog, Lady, when Lady went to the vet and when my brother got out of the car and he was holding her collar and she wasn't there. And in that moment, I recognized that Lady was gone. And luckily, I was in my mom's arms and I just sobbed into her arms because she was genuinely my best friend. And that I was maybe, 9, 10-year-old boy, a boy and his dog, classic tale.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. It touches the heart for sure.
It does. And, oftentimes people's first recollections are grandparents or, pets.
Yep.
And then that begins the whole awareness throughout our lives around what happens, where are people, where are kin. So how has death impacted the story of your life?
Man, it's a through line that I joke that I have a grief resume.
We know that.
Right? Like a CV, and my CV includes da, 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 da. And you listed off some of them because I keep them in my bio just because I want people to know, that this isn't theory for me. I didn't study it in school. I mean, I did study it in school, but I lived it way beforehand. And so it's been kind of one of those pieces of life that if I could have raised my hand and said, ooh, I'll skip that. I would have, and yet, right. We don't get that opportunity. And what I can say about it is as I'm sitting here talking to you, funerals are flashing before my eyes. I was raised Catholic, and the funeral is a kind of a tradition in our faith. And then, going to the grave and the whole process of the ritual of that, and I can just see all these different moments throughout my life, and they are some of the most important moments of my life because that was when shit got real.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like everything else was just catnip and distraction. You know, like just like first world problems, you know, like but you know, the moments of being graveside and the moments of being in churches with caskets were just like, whoa, okay, this is really important. This is really foundational, and pay attention.
Right.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, I notice when I've had loved ones die that there's a shift in your consciousness, I think, that happens because suddenly all these other things going on seem so petty and stupid. And how can
Totally.
somebody even be driving, or you know, what are they watching a television show for? Don't they know that my mom just died? What the hell, you know? Life is not the
100%.
same anymore, you know. So yeah, I hear that. Yeah, that's such well put. Thank you. So tell us about what you're doing currently, what your work is now, and you talked about palliative care, hospice, and music therapy. That's interesting, and I'd like to know more about your book as well.
Yeah. My company today is called Sonic Divinity, and for me, music has always been the sound of God. And has been a direct connection to God throughout my life. And I've had some real mountaintop moments with God and music. When I was 16, I was blessed to sing a spiritual in St. Peter's Square for Pope John Paul II during Holy Week.
Wow.
It was my choir.
That's pretty good.
It was pretty cool. And there were 13,000 Catholic pilgrims from all around the world there in St. Peter's Square. And I could hear my voice echoing around the colonnades. And that connection between me and God was just like so amazing. But the flip side was that I also had that experience in probably the one of two of the worst experiences of my life. First one coming was the death of my dad, and Enya was playing in the room. I mean, not Enya personally. I don't know her that well, but a cassette. I'm dating myself. Kids, what's a cassette? A cassette was playing of Enya in the room with my dad. My dad died at home in hospice. And it was like having the sound of angels in the room, you know? And I was just like, man, if I could be the soundtrack of someone's transformation from life to afterlife, like that would be the highest use of my gifts as a musician. So that was really a very, very powerful formative experience. 2 years prior to that, my 5 best friends had been murdered, and I went to 5 funerals in 4 days. And I can't really describe what that's like other than to just say I would get up, bury a friend, get as hammered as possible to numb the pain, pass out, and then get up and have to do the whole thing over again the next day, then 2 the next day, and then the next day. I mean, it was just beyond. And I sang a song at their funerals as my way of saying goodbye. It was a song I had written about them and used to sing to them, and at the saloon on open mic night. You can tell I come from a small town. We really did have the Georgetown Saloon. And and when I sang that song, it tore me up, but my community was like, this is so healing. Thank you so much. I really didn't know what they were talking about, but I took their word for it. But the night of the last funeral, my one remaining friend, we went to a live concert. And for the first 2 hours since I had gotten the news, I found peace. And no amount of drugs, alcohol, cable, porn, food numbed that pain that week. And I tried everything. But the music worked. And I was just like, oh, this is what everyone was talking about. I get it now. And so it just kind of created this mission, which was to be able to provide music in people's toughest moments to help them through their toughest times. And I didn't know what that would look like as a business or anything like that. I just had, that was the vision, that was the purpose, that was my dharma. And then that would get expressed in multiple ways, you know, throughout my career. And that's when I was in a heavy metal band. I didn't even know music therapy was a thing.
Mhm.
And, till, many years later, when I went back to school in my 30s full time for 5 years to become a board certified music therapist. And now my company, we work with teens and adults working and struggling
Mhm.
with addiction issues and mental health issues.
Mhm.
But I also run multiple retreats per year in the Southwest here and have a music-based approach to grief.
Mm,
And that journey has just been some of the most rewarding work I've
Mm.
done, because
Mm.
my journey through grief, I'm in recovery from addiction, I'm in recovery from grief. Like,
Mhm.
mhm,
those are two of the heaviest chains you can wear around your neck that I've experienced in my lifetime. So to
Mhm.
be able to minister to others through music in those two difficult chapters is just incredibly rewarding.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So beautiful.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
it's
you. So glad you're doing that work. So important.
Thanks.
it isn't what appeals to me is that, oftentimes we hear about like end of life musicians at the bedside of somebody
Hmm.
passing, and it's very like ethereal. And I
Hmm.
love Enya showing up for your dad. My sister had Neil Diamond
Love it.
playing, so
Yes.
and she wrote it down. She's like, I want Neil Diamond playing
Mm,
24/7 as I'm dying.
brilliant.
And what I love is it does encapsulate that transition for both the person who is passing and for the family who is ensconced in this moment.
Totally.
But those piece that Enya will always be that sweet angelic music for you.
Yep.
And Neil Diamond, I swear to you, I when I hear Neil Diamond, I'm like, "Hey, sister," because what
Yes.
else are you gonna say, right? Like, "Oh, yeah, there you
Yes.
are. Hey, what's going on?" So I appreciate that, our listeners can dream of even some heavy metal. Like, I just
Yeah.
went to go see Glass Animals last week, and I would have Glass Animals playing as I passed, like, full stop.
Absolutely.
So,
In music
anyhow,
therapy, we say the patient is the DJ.
Right?
yes, I w
Yeah. That
and
makes
so,
sense.
yes, so, it doesn't matter. I mean, and people can have a harp if they want to, but it's not the only choice.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, what are the challenges that you find in this amazing gift that you are, sowing out in the world?
The biggest challenge, I would say, is people's ability to raise their hand for help
Hmm.
Mhm,
in and around experiencing grief, because of two reasons. One, it's so debilitating physically, cognitively, and
mhm,
emotionally.
mhm,
So they don't have their own internal resources to summon, to activate, to go get help.
Hmm.
mhm,
It's one thing when you're pissed off about something. Anger is very motivating and very mobilizing, but
mhm.
sadness and grief is immobilizing.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah.
very hard to get people to engage in their own recovery. The second thing is an external issue, which is our culture's mismanagement of death and grief, because
Mhm,
people don't know what to expect, what's normal when it
Yeah.
comes to
mhm.
grief, and they don't know how to companion another person who is grieving.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So we just get a collective F minus as a culture when it
Mhm,
comes to preparing ourselves and each other for how to
mhm,
walk through grief, and
mhm,
that it can heal. It leaves
mhm,
scars, but it can heal. And there's some
mhm,
fundamental myths in our culture that just make it so much harder on everybody than it needs to be.
mhm,
So
mhm.
true. Yeah. Yeah. And that's
Mm,
one of the goals of our podcast is to get this
mhm,
word out and get people talking about it. So I'm so glad that
mhm.
you're doing that work. You're talking about
Yeah.
music earlier. There was a guest who told us that they were visited by their husband after he died and told that music is what lasts after death.
Hmm.
And I thought that's kind of awesome. you
I
Mhm,
know?
like hearing that.
mhm, mhm. Well, and I just wanna jump in here
Yeah,
too
go
and
ahead.
talk about the challenges around, our F minus of caregiving folks, going through their grief cycle. And, I see this we see this all the time, right? People are stunted with the language and the ability to open their hearts
Yeah.
and move through this. And just as you talk about your first, awareness of death with your dog friend, I just, I see kids who struggle with this and parents are just like, "Oh, you know, It's, like, let's get past this quickly. And, it's so harrowing to not, engage in these families and say, I'll sit here with you if you want, and we can just talk about your friend, and I don't care how long it takes.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Like, it's okay. Like, I value your stories about your friend.
Yes.
And, it feels so uncomfortable for people. And I'm still like, I don't understand why. I'm
Yeah.
like, what?
I think
Well,
about this a lot. And
yeah.
Yeah.
one of the things is if I have unresolved grief in my nervous system,
Hmm.
your grief triggers mine.
Yes. Hmm.
So it's very hard for me to be with you because I've been spending my entire
It's
life
like,
avoiding my own grief.
right.
Right.
So why would I want to be around you when you're triggering mine and I don't want to be
Hmm.
around mine? Now,
Hmm.
nobody's thinking that
Right.
logically or
Right.
consciously, but
Right.
that's the nervous system keeping us away from what we
Right.
would feel is danger.
It's
Yeah.
like we've been holding back that dam of grief. And
Yep.
so it's like that little
Oh, yeah.
hole.
Oh,
Woo,
100%.
it'll poof.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
And time does not heal grief, it just buries it.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Hmm.
know this because when a song comes on and
Right.
suddenly you go
Mm.
from normal to sobbing,
Yeah.
that's your unresolved grief getting picked
Yeah.
at like a
Hmm.
scab.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The name of that book, The Body Knows the Score.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. The body
Or
keeps the score.
keeps the
That's right.
score. Yeah, the body
Yes.
keeps the score.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's so
absolutely
true.
true.
And I loved what you said too about the because it's one thing Wendy, my wife, has spoken to many times is that different people have different music that are good. People assume that playing Beethoven for somebody is going to be perfect, and some people just do not like Beethoven.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
you know,
100%.
and there is
100%.
this sort of sense that that of course as a music therapist, you and she run into often that if we can play this kind of music, it'll help. And you don't know until you've spent time really getting to know a person
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
and asking the right questions and knowing the right questions, what
Mm-hmm.
is going to be something that will be a blessing for them. So that, again,
Mm-hmm.
the reason this is important as we talk about it here in this context is that you as a human being who's going to die have an opportunity now to really think about what is it that you would like to have
Yes.
playing when you're dying or
That's right.
after you die.
Or
And
you might want to be quiet too. Like
yeah, or would you
you
just
have
like
agency. You
Yes.
decide.
silence? Silence is
Yes.
not a bad idea sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
Absolutely.
prayer or poems or whatever,
Yep.
even dance,
Yeah.
So whatever is going to lift you up in those times is important to
Mm-hmm.
make sure everybody knows, make sure your family and your loved ones know.
Yep.
So thank you for doing that work. I'd love to hear a little more about what happens in the retreats, if you could tell us that.
Sure. So when I was a music therapy student, my mom, who's a retired therapist, and another retired therapist were facilitating this grief retreat at the Franciscan Renewal Center in Phoenix, Arizona. And she said, "Hey, do you want to come out and do a segment on how to use music to heal grief?"
Mm.
I said, "Sure, I'd love to. My mom and I are super tight. What a great excuse. We get to work professionally together. Awesome." And then I said, "What are you doing for music for the whole retreat?" And she's like, "Well, we've got this boom box." Oh my God, Mom. Okay, so what are you doing for PowerPoint? Well, we've got this overhead projector. Yeah, this is 2007, but it might as well have been 1987, right? And so I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'll take care of both." And we had a great time. And her and her partner were like, "You can never leave." So I joined the team, and
Mhm.
twice a year, every year till COVID, the three of us would facilitate these retreats. I took about 2 years off when my daughter died to do my own grieving before coming back to lead that.
Mhm.
And now I lead them on my own. And it's 3 days. It's a Friday night, all day Saturday, Sunday morning. And like I said, it's a music-based approach where we use music to create community, to create connection, to create present moment awareness, and really being in the present moment. That's really hard for humans in the 21st
Mhm.
century.
Yes.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so if you can give them a play-based
Mm.
tool that they know, love, and trust that helps them stay present and allows them to open up and tap into their feelings without having to necessarily talk about their feelings,
Mm.
it's a great tool. because it creates community, it creates connection, it creates this opportunity for expression. Words are a great tool. It's just that we live in a hyper verbal, talk centered, clinical culture where everybody thinks if you talk about it, you'll feel better.
Right.
But that is based on 3 problems. 1, you know what to say. 2, you feel like saying it. And 3, you have someone to say it to who can keep their mouth shut.
Right. That you can trust. Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck, because humans are terrible listeners. We take it personally. We project our own issues onto the situation. We misinterpret what someone's saying. We get activated or reactivated because of what they're saying. Like, we give advice, we give platitudes, we try to rescue.
Yeah.
So what we're really bad at in our culture is just holding space.
Right.
So, I mean, as a therapist, they put us through thousands of hours of clinical supervision. Any therapist has been through thousands of hours of clinical supervision before they were turned loose on the population, because humans are so bad at listening.
Yes.
Yeah. We both went through spiritual direction seminary, and that was the number one, really our main practice is how do you listen with compassion and openness, and no fixing, no changing, no. And thank God there are people doing that stuff and doing that work, because you're right, it's a challenging thing for most people. So
Seems to be.
Yeah. So is there anything that frightens you about the end of life yourself?
I would say I'm pretty sure that whatever day is my last day, there's more I will have want to have done. So I'll be like, it's like when I was a kid and we'd be playing outside and you'd hear dinner.
And you're like,
and you had to come inside for supper, right? And you're just okay. And you come inside and then you eat a great meal and you're like, yeah, this is great. But 5 minutes ago, you were like, 5 more minutes. Like, I'm going to be the guy who's like, 5 more minutes, just because I am endlessly fascinated by this journey. And now that I have kids of my own, like watching my kids grow, like I have a daughter who's currently 19. I have a son who's about to turn 14, and I have a daughter who's in heaven. And so I know what it's like to have lost a child and to hear their heartbeat start and then hear their heartbeat stop. And like, when my heartbeat stops and my kids are still around, like, they're going to keep living. And there's the part of me who wants to keep living with them in that same capacity. And there's part of me that knows I'll be able to participate, or part of me that, I'll still be able to participate in some way, but it's going to look differently. My physical presence is going to be gone. They're not going to hear my voice anymore. If I could have one thing back from my dad, it would be that I have an audio or video of my dad. He died in 97 before iPhones. I have no audio or video of my dad. I don't hear his voice. I don't see him in video. And like, I wish I could still have that. So there's going to be that physical presence moment where I'm going to be like, man, I know I'm heading to something great, but I'm going to miss out on all this fun over here.
Yeah. So well put. Yeah. We often think that we think and have heard that the one thing is, will I be done yet? I'm not really done yet. I've still got more. I've got more to give.
Yes.
Will I have accomplished what I really want to accomplish? So
100%.
So, again, that's our daily task, right? To do our best and try to do everything we can to make the world better.
Yep.
And the world around us better. So especially when the world is going crazy, and which it tends to be these days.
Yeah.
Or maybe always. Yeah.
So as you're doing your best to live life to its fullest, on those days that you find it a little hard, what do you do to keep yourself resourced?
Oh, that's a great question. Nature. I get my feet off the concrete and barefoot into the grass as much as humanly possible. Humans are meant to be outdoors. Our bodies are primed to be connected to the planet Earth. There's very physiological reasons for this. We're not meant to be inside. Our nervous system is optimized for outdoors. So what typically happens is when life is occurring hard, I'm indoors and I'm not present.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm in my head
Yeah.
about something.
Yeah.
And the details don't matter. It's just womp, 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 you know.
Mhm.
And what I need to do is go outdoors, and I need
Yes.
to get barefoot, and I need to go walk in my grass, and I need to go hang out and I do it several times a day because I get in my head all the time. And so the antidote is if I want to get out of my head, I need to get out of my office, and I need to go outside. And I'm very blessed that I live in Orange County, California, where the average temperature is 70 degrees and it's sunny 300 days a year. And I pay for that privilege. Trust me. But you don't want to see my mortgage payment. But the point is that like this backdrop, that's my back hill. This is so even when I'm in my office and I'm on calls, I'm looking at my backyard. For me, I grew up in the woods in nature, and nature has always been, the fast track to grounding, quite literally and metaphorically. And then the second thing is music, which may sound obvious coming from the music therapist, but we as adults, we tend to trade our music in for podcasts and audiobooks and talk radio and news, and we forget to stay a fan. And it's fascinating because it's like I work with adults all the time who they didn't have a falling out with music. It's not like they got in a fight.
Yeah.
They
just forgot to.
They just forgot. It's just atrophy. It's like as a parent, like sometimes you lose track of your friends, and it's not because of a fight. It's just because you're busy raising your family and dealing with your career and dealing with your marriage. They're busy dealing with their family, career, and marriage, and they may be in a different state. And before you know it, 3 years have gone by. And what happened? Yeah. Well, I've found that same thing to be true with music for a lot of people. And so I try to keep it nearby, and I try to be able to reach for it as I need it. And there's a couple of things I advocate for people, and it's simple to do, but I call it your power playlist.
Yep.
Your power playlist is just 3 or more songs that fire you up, calm you down, center you. And when you're feeling disconnected, you're 10 to 20 seconds away from the first track playing. If you just remember you have it and to reach for it.
Great idea. Yeah. What a good advice for anybody.
I love that. And I'm going to tell you, my kids are like, Mom, you're old, but you're always listening to new music. Like I am like always keeping up because
that's a huge compliment.
It is a huge compliment. And it's like, I go to and I have tickets to a show in October, and my daughter's like, you're going to show up with a bunch of like 16-year-olds. I'm like, I don't care. Matt Maltese, man, he rocks my world. Like,
there you go.
Whatever. But I do appreciate that because you're right. Like, I get tired of listening to podcasts, and then I get soothed. Like I have my heavy metal that I love to listen to when I'm just like, I just need to just like, like push back, little Static X time. But adults definitely don't. They end up doing cool jazz or something. I don't know what they're listening to, but I'm like, God, you're so old. Like, we can't.
Hey, now be careful there.
No, but listen, Wakil, you play music. Yeah. You sing to me all the time. Like when we were in seminary, you always had songs. And so that is a very different from like mindlessly just like flipping a switch to an old like 80s, elevator music that's like kind of whatever.
Yeah, kind of elevator music. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, Wakil, that is not you. You are a music. You have music in your veins. So I don't.
Yeah.
But I do think that is a really great, I actually want to think about that as a spiritual tool too, because it is important and adults do forget.
Except I do like jazz.
Hey, no shade on jazz. I love jazz too.
Yes. We are not here to throw shade at any genre or style of music.
No. I just think that it's interesting that as the older you get, the less open you are to different kinds of things. Just just throwing it out there.
Yeah. No, that seems to be the case. And what I experience is that most people go through kind of like a high tide of music from when they're about 14 to 24. In your adolescence into your adulthood, as you're coming of age, what's the soundtrack? What's your soundtrack, your personal soundtrack of your identity? Because that's what you're forming during that time.
Sure.
And since you're a human, you're a social animal. So you're forming that identity inside of a group. And because our society is so big now, it's too big to just say I'm just a member of the human race. Like you need to be part of a smaller tribe. So you start to find your tribe through the energy of the music that you resonate with, right? So that you got the rockers and you got the punkers and you got the stoners, right? And you got the people like different style, and they find their people in that music. But what's interesting is it seems like once we level off into our mid-20s, we've kind of decided who we are, what our styles and preferences are. By and large, the bell curve experiences, people tend to stay with what that was, and they stay with the artists they discovered during that time.
That's true.
That's the bell curve. Now, that doesn't mean people are outside of the bell curve, right? They're outliers, but the bell curve is, this is my music, these are my people, and I'm going to keep listening to it. And that's the soundtrack of my road right now.
Yeah. I think it helps to have kids. So that's been my, the kids will introduce me to new music.
Whether you like it or not, you're going to get introduced to new music because of your kids.
Most of the time I like what they have. So sometimes I'm not sure what that is, but
fair. Or all the years of cartoon watching. I love Steven Universe. And yesterday, as I sat in the car waiting for my daughter, I played the Steven Universe soundtrack because I'm like, you know, like I love that shit.
Oh, that's so good.
Okay. Music.
And well, wait a second. We want to make sure we ask you if there's anything we didn't ask you. Is there anything you wish we'd have asked you that you'd like to tell us before you give us a beautiful music?
Yeah, I think as we're talking about end of life conversations, and this will segue into the song. So your faith, what you believe in, right, is a gift you give yourself. No one can tell you what to believe without your permission. And no one can take away from you what you believe without your permission. It's like your faith is yours. You come to decide for yourself, this is what I believe in, and this is what gives me the courage to get out of bed and face an unpredictable world. This is what inspires me to be the best version of myself today while I'm awake. And this is what can calm my monkey mind enough to fall asleep at the end of the day. For me, that's the test of faith. Like if your faith can allow you to accomplish those three things, rinse and repeat, but it's yours. It's no one else's. So maybe you inherited someone else's faith as you were growing up. That's fine, but you can explore what's true and what's right for you at any moment while you're still breathing.
So true.
And that's okay, because I think that having a good glimpse and inquiry into what you think is going to happen when you stop breathing is going to inform the journey between breathing and not breathing. And I also believe it's going to inform what happens afterwards. That's my personal belief. But I think that taking the time to really be thinking through that for yourself and adopting what would comfort you the most is transformative in the end of life journey. And it's also transformative in the grief journey for those who are still here. So I think it's not a sexy conversation, but it's a valuable, life-changing and death-changing conversation to really start to sit in, what do you think about? And when I was in my heavy metal band, guys, I wore liquid latex on stage. I was like no hair, no eyebrows for 5 years. And like at the same time, there was one day in like 1999 where I plugged my guitar into a new amp that I had just bought. It's a famous type of amp. And the tone that came out of the amp was so beautiful that a song came to me and came through me. Now, I don't write hymns, and at the time I was the guitarist. I wasn't a songwriter, but suddenly I was present to lyrics and I wrote them down, and it was and it was not just a song, it was a hymn, which for a heavy metal guitarist, like that's totally incongruent. Right. So, and then I signed and dated the piece of paper because I knew something special had just happened. This was not a normal day for me as a musician or as a person. And the song is called His Love is Everlasting. Fast forward years later, I'm a music therapy student, and one of our parishioners in my church, we get the phone call during service that they're taking him off life support.
Mm.
And I asked my pastor to call the family and say, can I come play for him and play for the family as they do that procedure? Because it's kind of a rough procedure. And they said yes. And so there I was in a hospital room playing this song, using the music to push the sounds of the life support machine and all the sounds that happen when you take someone off it out the door and replace it with, and the neck. And it was just me, the family, and the clinical staff. Like I was in this sacred, privileged place. And the next time I saw the mom, the wife, I hugged her and I said, thank you so much for letting me be part of such a sacred, special moment. And she goes, no, you don't understand. Your music, you are what made it sacred. And that was in 2004 when that happened. And I wrote the song in 1999, having no idea that my future self would be blessing somebody's transformation with that song. And here we are at the time of this recording in 2025, where I get to share this same piece of music that was given to me in 1999 with a whole new group of people who I might never have met or never would have heard the song if it wasn't for the two of you inviting me onto your podcast. And I love the way God works.
Yeah. 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 So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you to the divine for bringing this to us. So
yeah. Fun moment.
Yeah. So please, share this song with us. We'd love to hear it. And that'll be a great way to end. And thank you again so much for joining us today.
Yes, I'm delighted that you were joining us today.
Yeah. Thanks again for having me. Okay, here we go. When you feel God's light upon you, radiant beams, they surround you, leading you home. When you feel God's arms around you, safely and soft they enfold you, leading you home. His love is everlasting, though at times you may feel afraid, but his arms are always around you, leading you home when you've gone astray. When you feel God's love inside you, fire from within, it warms you, leading you home. When you feel God's hand upon you, strength from his touch, it feeds you, leading you home. His love is everlasting, though at times you may feel afraid, but his arms are always around you, leading you home when you've gone astray. When you feel God calling to you, listen and hear him guide you, leading you home. And when you see God all around you. You see all the people that love you. And now you are home. His love is everlasting, though at times you may feel afraid. But his arms are always around you, leading you home when you've gone astray. His love is everlasting, though at times you may feel afraid. But his arms are always around you, leading you home, leading you home when you've gone astray.
Thank you for joining us today. Please stick around after the credits for our afterthoughts, and it helps our numbers if you stay until the end. We want to thank my children, Nate, Vivian, Nina, and her fiance Asher, for the excellent opening song, and a special thanks to our awesome editor, Sam Zemke, who is also a guest on our podcast. You can listen to him on Season 4, Episode 5. Also, thank you to Charles Heaston, the composer of the original music you are listening to now.
And of course, thanks to you, our audience, and all of our amazing guests. Please come back next week for another great episode. Share this with your friends, family, and community. We hope you will subscribe and follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Substack. Each guest's additional information will be found in the podcast notes. And of course, if you have a good end-of-life story to share, please reach out. We are always eager to hear from you.
Wow, I love Tim. What a cool guy.
Tim is
Yeah.
really our people. I think that what I think about is sounds and connection. Like you and I've practiced Sufi with you, Sufism, and it's all about the languaging and connection with the divine. And that's what he says. It's like the
Yeah.
sonic connection
Yeah,
to
the
God.
resonance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Resonating in our hearts. Yeah, it was so beautiful to have him sing some songs for us. And yeah, I really recommend his work to everybody, and
That's
check him
right.
out. And wow, what a wonderful work he's doing. So we are blessed again. One more
As
time.
usual. I know. We're so lucky.
All right. See you next time.
Adios.